So we are on now. Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done another video. The internet of the house where I'm staying at, where my dad's house is right now, was down for a week and a half. And I thought I might do a video that's relevant to a lot of guys around my age. Now, I'm 26 years old, and I'm about to be 27 years old this year. And as of right now, I am single, and I don't have any children. Now, I am that way for several reasons. For one reason is because I know I'm not ready to have children given how much they cost and the burden that comes to raising kids, and how much it takes up your time and your energy. And I have no time for that now. And I want to take time to explore and have fun and doing what I want while I'm in my 20s. And another reason why I am single, as I said before in my previous videos, is because I'm single and I don't have any children, is because I haven't found the right kind of woman that I want to settle down with, have children with. I can go into another video about why that's the case, but I think that most girls in my around the 20s age range are just not mature or smart enough in order to make babies with as of yet. You know, I'm thinking, and another reason that's a problem for me is that, I mean, another reason why I'm choosing not to have children right now with other women is because a lot of girls already have kids, anyways. I come across a lot of women at work and who are around their 20s and they already have one or two or three or four kids. And in some cases, they're single moms. And I don't want to get caught up in that position. Now, I want to talk about a story. This has to do with one guy I know from my job, working at Red Lobster. I'm not going to say his name just to protect the innocent, but I'm going to tell you a little of his story. See, there's this other guy who I think he's 22 or 23, and he started to go ahead and mess around with this other girl I think she's 30 or 31, and she's a prep cook. And what happened was they got pretty close together and they had sex, and they had raw and unprotected sex. And then soon afterwards, she found out that she was pregnant. And then I remember at my job, what happened was that baby. Yeah, he's about to have a baby soon. But what happened at my job, I remember one day there was this big party celebration. They went ahead and they had a baby cake, and everyone was like, "Oh, congratulations! You're about to have a baby! Grand, that's so good!" And I'm looking around, and the women, of course, are all excited and psyched about it. And there's this one other girl who already has like four kids, and she's like 23 years old, which I don't think is a good time to have kids, anyways. But I'm gonna get to that later. And then the whole coronavirus thing happened. And then we didn't go back to work for 2.5 months. I just recently got back to work at my job. And then I remember a few days ago, I talked with the guy who had this kid who was about to have a baby with this girl. And I said, "So are you two still together?" And he said, "No, we tried going out for a bit, man, but it just didn't work out. And we agreed to co-parent, but now she's trapped me with this kid, you know?" And I said, "Yeah, well, that's what women will do to you. If you're not careful, that's what women will do to you." "Yeah, man, I wish I knew beforehand." So, guys, let me tell you this. Don't end up like that guy, okay? The last thing that any of you guys want to do, especially for me, is to have a baby with a woman just because you were caught up in the heat of the moment and you wanted the pussy so bad. I don't care how fine she is or whatever. If you don't really know this person and you haven't tested her out for a long time to see if she's the right type of woman for you, don't make babies with her. I don't care how bomb the pussy is. how fat her ass is, how pretty her face is, how big her titties are. Don't risk it, okay? When you're in your 20s, let me tell you this. Your 20s should not be a time to settle down and have kids, okay? That was the case generations ago, like in my grandparents' generation, but that's long gone, okay? I think that all guys, men in their 20s, should go ahead and have fun. Go out and explore. See the world. Go ahead and travel to different places in other countries and make a list. Like I said before, one of my old videos about entering the real world, make a list of things that you might want to do with your life. Because when you're in your 20s, you really don't know yourself. You don't know what you want to do and where you're going with your life. So make a list. Like, say, for example, for me, when I was working for my dad as an auto mechanic, it was something I liked. It was something I enjoyed doing. But I always felt as though there was something else for me out there. So I decided to go to community college and see what else is out there for me to do. And I tried out college for a bit, but I realized that going further into college and education was not the direction I want to go into. And that's a topic for another video. And then I went ahead and I made a list of other things I might get into. And I learned that working in the skilled trades was a better option than going to college, like being a plumber or being an electrician or being a construction worker. So I hooked up with one of my dad's good friends who owned his own construction company and his own plumbing company. And for the year in 2017, I was working for him part-time as an inventory manager for his plumbing business and also as on-site help for his official plumbing employees on job sites, such as laying down pipes, digging out ditches, and all that other stuff. And for his construction company, I remember I was helping out remodeling this house in this country club in this nearby town called Palm Desert. And for one day, I hooked up with one of my cousins who has his own electrician company. But one thing I realized doing all that work was that even though I could handle the heavy lifting and I'm good with working with my hands, given the experience I have with fixing cars, I realized I don't want to work outside. I cannot stand being out in the elements and in the heat. This is just not for me. So after a while, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself. I was still working with my dad. And then I had this time in which I was going through some really troubling times in my life. And I became homeless. And I was at a homeless shelter for 8 months. But in there, I remember I was working in the kitchen. And I discovered I like to work in the kitchen. I enjoy cooking. This is something I wanted to pursue. And so I decided that after I left the homeless shelter, I was going to get a job working in the kitchen for a country club or a nice restaurant. And I worked in several jobs. I worked for a country club for a couple months in the kitchen. And I also worked as a dishwasher at this restaurant called the Yard House. But then I got myself a better job in which now I'm working as a line cook for Red Lobster. But this is just for more experience, so I can go to the next step. After I train more on the line at Red Lobster, I want to go ahead and when I'm fully trained on the line there, is transferring over to another city. I'm thinking of Phoenix because there's more jobs and more opportunity and it's cheaper to live there than fucking California, but that's another video. So I'm making goals and plans for myself professionally. And I'm also taking time out to invest in myself. I work out 5 days a week. I'm reading good books on spirituality and expanding my horizons. I just recently got some books in the mail called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and also An Intelligent Investor. I've been reading books about how I can better my finances and invest into my future and working towards where I want to be in life. And I encourage everyone in their 20s to do that. Not just men, but for women. Doing better than me, dude. Hey, man, you got to be doing better for yourself. But, dude, I've heard this being said before from other people who have kids. Once you have kids, that's it. That's your life. Working on it. You better. Because the thing is, from what I understand, when people have children, children take up a lot of your time and your energy. And when you are young, ideally, like I said, that should be a time for you to explore and invest in yourself. But when you have a kid, I'm like you, though I don't believe in kids ever. Kids are not for everyone. But when you have kids, the thing is, they take up a lot of your time and energy, especially when they're babies, when they're always crying and in need, and you have to go ahead and stay up all night to take care of them, and then take care, school, activities with them, and all these other things, which is cool. But, you know, I think that before you have kids and before you settle down, you need to get to know yourself first. You need to learn who it is that you are as a man and where you want to go with your life. Although I have experience working with kids and love to teach and caretake, I just Buddhist kinda, and I don't think I should make another life so it can suffer. Yeah, but that brings up another point. Value vaults are, one of the reasons why you don't want to have kids when you're young is because that is one of the main reasons why there's so much poverty in this world. I think one of the main reasons why people are so poor is because they have kids when they're young and they're not ready. I mean, there was this whole thing about, oh, raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour for families. I'm thinking, if you're making $15 an hour, you shouldn't be having kids anyways. $15 an hour, you're barely even getting by taking care of yourself. That's why I think that people should go ahead and work on investing themselves in their career so that they can make even more money so that they can go beyond taking care of themselves but also taking care of children. I've seen people, especially girls or single moms, that are struggling. They're all bummed out, they're stressed out. They don't know if they're going to be able to take care of their bills, and life is just really really hard, you know? And that's the other thing. I think that one of the main reasons why you should not settle down and have kids when you're young is because you're way too naive and immature to know who you want to settle down with. You know, you don't really know what you want in life. You don't know what you really want in a relationship. That's why I encourage you guys, go out and explore. Check out the menu when it comes to girls. There's so much more out there than just the first girl you fall in love with when you're in your 20s, okay? It just doesn't work out. A lot of times your relationships when you're young just don't work out because you're too naive and immature to know how to make a relationship work. But that implies sex ed actually worked. So because culturally we have kids young and work young, we should get paid more than poverty wages, in my opinion. I don't really think that's the case, man. But back to what I was saying. You know, I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people, especially women, become single moms. And that's the problem, is that they had kids when they're really young and naive, and they made the wrong choices when it comes to men to have kids with. Because let's be honest, no one had put a gun to your head forcing you to bring a child into this world. Okay? You made that decision to have that child with that man who you say is no good, or he's lazy, or he's this and that. That's a reflection of your poor decision making and a reflection of you. Because if you actually had yourself together and you knew how to make the right choices in a partner to have kids with, you wouldn't have ended up in that situation, would you? But yeah, you know, it's just 20s, man, is not the time for you to grow up so fast, but take time to develop yourself and explore. Maybe when you get to your early 30s, maybe at most your late 20s, that's when you should start considering the idea of settling down, having kids. But at least for me right now, I'm not thinking about that. You know, I'm seeing what happened to guys like that one guy at Red Lobster that had sex with this girl and she's pregnant, and now he's stuck with having this woman in his life for the rest of his life because she's choosing to have the kid. I'm glad I'm not in that situation at all. You know, the other thing, guys, in order to avoid this situation, is don't get so caught up in your sexual impulses. It's your sexual impulses, okay? Just because she's beautiful and she has a fat ass doesn't mean that she's any good, because a lot of these girls can be really, really vapid and dumb, and they want to use their body and how attractive they are in order to get what they want from men. Like, look what happened with Black China and fucking Rob Kardashian. So, Rob Kardashian was simping Black China, who was known to basically use her body and use sex to get what she wants from men, and she burned the fuck out of him. Spending money on her so she can get surgery, and all these things, and then she turns around and posts pictures of her and videos of her having sex with other guys behind his back. It's like, fuck out of here with that shit, man. Not all women are worth your fucking time, okay? I gotta admit that fair and square. There are gonna be very few girls that are gonna be worth your time as a man, okay? Because, that's just the case. As I said before, you have to dig through a lot of dirt before you find the priceless jewels. And that's especially true when it comes to women. So when you're in your 20s, you're dealing with a lot of girls who are not very well developed. They don't have it all right in their head, and they're not very mature. So it's not the right time to settle down with them. And it's not right for you because for the most part, you're in the same situation too. I know. I mean, I know I got a lot of growing up to do, but I'm much wiser and much more mature than how I was when I was 20, 21 years old. I'm much more sure and happy with myself than I ever was before. Hello. We're also not developed. Let me read what you have to say. So I think that's a problem. Not just people are stupid, but it's more a failure of culture and education. Yeah, that's true. So, guys, what else can I say? You want to spend your 20s with as much freedom, as much space to have the world in the palm of your hands and not having others hold you back. It's worth to nut in her if she's pretty. Fuck no. And this is what I'll tell you guys too. That's not individual stupidity wholly. Yeah. But here's the thing, guys. I know it's been said over and over again, but if you're going to go ahead and have sex with a girl because you think she's hot and you just want to do the smash and dash or whatever, make sure you have one of these, okay? I remember I told the guy who, as I said before, had a girl by this woman like you are. We got to break the culture and educate like you are. Well, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. But I remember the day in which I talked to the guy and he told me, yeah, well, we're having the kid together, but it didn't work out. I told him this. You know what would have saved you a whole lot of trouble? If you simply just use this. And it's not just getting her pregnant, but it's diseases, okay? Like she can have a great fucking body, and her pussy might be so tight and feel so great, but is it really worth it when she calls you up 2 weeks later and she says, I'm pregnant and you're the only guy I've had sex with? Or you get gonorrhea or syphilis or even worse, AIDS. So, guys, don't end up in that situation, okay? You know, make the best of your youth. Don't grow up too fast, and don't waste your youth being involved with a woman who wasn't worth your time anyways, who's going to end up hating your guts and bringing you a lot of drama and troubles in your life. I'm not saying that's happened to this guy yet, but I told him this: be prepared for a lot of baby mama drama. It might come your way. He said, "Yeah, man, I get it." You know, so guys, they make the 20s the time to explore, and don't be settled down just yet. You know, this is probably the only time in your life, one of the only times in your life in which you'll be able to really enjoy yourself. Okay? Unless you don't want to get married and have kids at all. That's fine with you. But I would stress again that absolutely for anyone, especially for men in their 20s, be without children and be single. All right? That's just my thoughts on the subject for tonight. What do you think? If you like what I have to say, go ahead and comment. You know, if you like what I have to say, I appreciate it. If you want to share this video, if you want to subscribe, I appreciate it too. But anyways, I appreciate your comments right here on the live chat, Vault Art. Hopefully, maybe you'll be able to come up again on my next stream on another subject. But just so I might get this out of the way for tonight. Anyways, stay single and stay childless, my friends. Good night.